जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 3, text number 39. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Anapatyo cha Dampati Navavrathe Apavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Anapatyo cha Dampati Navavrathe Apavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Anapatyo cha Dampati Navavrathe Apavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Navavrate Apavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Anapatyo cha Dampati Navavrate Apavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Anapatyo cha Dampati Navavrate Pavargam Me Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya Mohito Deva Mayaya. Ajuштagramya Vishaya for sex life and to beget a child like me. Anapatyo because of possessing no son. Cha also. Dampati both husband and wife. Na never. Vivrathe asked for any other benediction. Apavargam liberation from this world. Me from me. Mohito being so much attracted. Deva Mayaya by transcendental love for me, desiring me as your beloved son. Translation. Somebody wants to read the translation?
Being husband and wife, but always sonless, You were attracted by sexual desires, for by the influence of Devamaya, transcendental love, you wanted to have me as your son. Therefore you never desired to be liberated from this material world. Vasudeva and Devaki had been Dampati, husband and wife, since the time of Sutapa and Prishni, and they wanted to remain husband and wife in order to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. This attachment came about by the influence of Devamaya. Loving Krishna as one's son is a Vedic principle. Vasudeva and Devaki never desired anything but to have the Lord as their son. Yet for this purpose they apparently wanted to live like ordinary grahastas for sexual indulgence. Although this was a transaction of spiritual potency, their desire appears like attachment for sex and conjugal love and conjugal life. If one wants to return home back to Godhead, one must give up such desires. This is possible only when one develops intense love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Nishkinchanasya bhagavad bhajanon mukhasya param jigamishor bhava sagarasya. If one wants to go back home, back to Godhead, one must be nishkinchana, free from all material desires. Therefore, instead of desiring to have the Lord come here and become one's son, one should desire to become free from all material desires, anyabhilashita shunyam, and go back home, back to Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in his Shikshashtaka, Nadhanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janman ishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. One should not ask the Lord to fulfill any materially tainted desires.
So you'll continue to read the translation.
Krishna.
After you received the benediction and I disappeared, you engaged yourself in sex to have a son like me, and I fulfilled your desire.
Since I found no one else as highly elevated as you in simplicity and other qualities of good character, I appeared in this world as Prishni Garbha, or one who is celebrated as having taken birth from Prishni.
In the next millennium, I again appeared from the two of you, who appeared as my mother, Aditi, and my father, Kashyapa. I was known as Upendra, and because of being a dwarf, I was also known as Vamana.
O supremely chaste mother, I, the same personality, have now appeared of you both as your son for the third time. Take my words as the truth.
I have shown you this form of Vishnu just to remind you of my previous births. Otherwise, if I appeared like an ordinary human child, you would not believe that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, has indeed appeared.
Both of you, husband and wife, constantly think of me as your son, but always know that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By thus thinking of me constantly with love and affection, you will achieve the highest perfection, returning home back to Godhead.
And Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादा सहगण ललिता शाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कथांचन स्मृति अस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामितं मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं Hare Krishna. So this is a wonderful series of verses, and who is speaking here? It is Lord Krishna who is giving the discourse, and he is speaking to his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. And so in the previous verses, we have seen that the Lord is, coming to this climax of appearance, how he is going to appear. And so these parents of the Lord, they have done a lot of austerities in the earlier lives, and these are severe austerities. And these austerities have pleased the Lord, So for celestial, thousands and thousands of celestial years, they have done this austerities. So in when the parents were Sutapa and Prishni, the Lord appeared as Prishni Garbha. And this was Swayambhu Manu, that Manvantar. And then he appeared as the son of Aditi and Kashyap. He comes as Vamanadev and performs wonderful pastimes. And now the Lord is coming as the son of Vasudev and Devaki, and he is known as Vasudev. So the Lord is, there are multifarious incarnations, different incarnations of the Lord. And in the further purpose, in 44, one of the purpose, like it has been also explained, but Prabhupada is saying that, quoting from Jiva Goswami's Krishna Sandarbha, that I think 44 or 43, where is being explaining that how Krishna comes in his original form as Krishna himself. So here also in this verse, Krishna is saying that I myself have come. Yeah, no, not a problem. We can. So ajushta gramya vishayo, for begetting a child like me, because you did not have the son, and that's why the Lord comes here. So very interestingly, so Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they particularly tell in this verse that actually this Vasudeva and Devaki, they didn't have any material desires. They were free from material desires. And since they didn't have any material desires, they didn't have desire for liberation also. So generally, you know, liberation is actually accepted by one who is bewildered by Maya. So when one, is under the influence of Maya, and he is actually enjoying his senses, then he sees all the troubles of the sense enjoyment, and then he has a desire for getting liberated. But the condition of Vasudeva and Devaki was that they didn't have any material desires only. So much so that they didn't even engage in any kind of intercourse or activities like this. And their only desire was actually, if they want to have a son, then it should be Krishna only, no one else. So the acharyas explain that one is that they were not attracted to liberation. So Prabhupada also here, the words Sukadeva Goswami is using apavargam, right? Apavargam means liberation. So there is a pavarga and apavarga. So pavarga is what? 5 things, right? Pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So pa means parishram, it's hard work, hard labor. And pha means fena. So after doing hard labor, then one from the mouth comes some foam or liquid, which actually indicates that one has very much tired of working. Pa, pha. Ba is bandhan, which means one becomes bound. And bha is bhai, that one becomes fearful. And ma is then one attains the mrityu, the death. So pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. So this is pavarga, and apavarga means to become free from all of this. Apavarga, and that is actually liberation. So now the condition is that the Lord Himself is saying, you never desire to be liberated. So one is that they didn't have any material desires, so that's why they didn't want liberation. And second thing also, Jiva Goswami speaks in this particular commentary of this verse, that actually the happiness of devotional service is so much, it is so blissful, then one does not want liberation. Right? Prabhupada quotes here, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. So there are 6 characteristics of devotional service. So what is it? Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha Laguta Krita, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, and Sri Krishna Akarshani. So Sandrananda Visheshatma means the bliss is unlimited. And that is the bliss, when one tastes that bliss of devotional service, then one does not aspire for any liberation, because the liberation, moksha laguta krita, the liberation becomes very small, very tiny. They don't want liberation. So that was another reason why Vasudeva and Devaki didn't want any kind of liberation. Prabhupada says in this verse that Vasudeva and Devaki never desired anything but to have the Lord as their son, yet for this purpose apparently wanted to live like a grahastha for sexual indulgence. So many times, devotees and even the Supreme Lord definitely, and also the devotees, their actions one cannot actually understand. In the further purpose also Prabhupada talks about that how the Lord is derided by the fools, the they think that avajananti mama muda, that the Lord has come in some human form like this. So the parents are also living, and they are living like ordinary grahastha, but they are not like the ordinary parents, who are for sense enjoyment, having some desires, or they want to beget the child for their own happiness or for increasing their progeny, like that. Because Sutapa and Prishni also were ordered by Brahmaji that you increase the progeny. And for increasing the progeny, they were doing so much austerity. And this austerity pleased the Lord. When they saw the Lord, they didn't want anything. They just wanted the Lord. So this is actually the love that the devotee, pure devotees have for the Lord. That they give up any desires when they have the darshan of the Lord. When they see the Lord, they don't want anything. They just simply want, the Lord's devotional service. And Prabhupada writes this here. This is only possible when one develops intense love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he quotes this verse: Nishkinchanasya bhagvat bhajano mukhasya param param jigamishor bhavasagarasya. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 11.8, where Lord Chaitanya is telling Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord without material motives, seeing a materialist engage in sense gratification, or being a woman who is similarly interested, is more abominable than drinking poison willingly. So the word which is being used here is nishkinchanasya. Nishkinchan means free from any material desires. The another word which is used is akinchana. One who doesn't have any material possessions, one who is free from all material desires. Like one of the Prabhupada's god brother, his name was Akinchan Das Babaji. So he was always chanting holy names. Anybody would talk to him, ask him anything, he'll just say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Every time, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. He was so absorbed and, not into any kind of politics or this mutt, that mutt, and this division. Prabhupada was always, having such nice, wonderful relationship. When Prabhupada came to India, he had always meetings with Akinchan Das Babaji. So that is like, person who is always engaged 24 hours, just thinking. Whole Ekadashi night, he would just be chanting Hare Krishna on his own mridanga. He was chanting Hare Krishna, doing bhajans, kirtans. So that was his attachment. So, so Prabhupada says that if one wants to go back home, back to Godhead, one must be nishkinchana, free from all material desires. Of course, it is actually difficult, but, we'll see the sequence what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually suggests in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if anybody actually comes and takes shelter of Krishna, then Krishna actually takes care of him. Krishna never leaves anyone, whether one has desires or one doesn't have desires. Akamo sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That whether one desires liberation, whether one has any desires, or whether one does not have any desires, one should actually simply go to Purusham Param, Lord Sri Krishna. So here, interestingly, Prabhupada actually also quotes that actually one should not desire for a son also, here it says, therefore, instead of desiring to have the Lord come here and become one's son, one should desire to become free from all material desires. So basically, there are different grades of devotees. So there are pure devotees, and we know that even in pure devotees, there are different grades. And Parikshit Maharaj tells Uttara, which Sanatan Goswami narrates in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that how Naraji wants to actually meet the greatest of the devotee. He goes to one of the pandits, one of the brahmanas, and then brahmana said that go to that South Indian king. South Indian king says go to Indra. Then finally Brahma, Lord Shiva, and he keeps traversing from one to another, and everybody is glorifying. No, he is better devotee than me. He is better than me. And he reaches, Prahlad, Hanumanji, and then Ugrasen Maharaj, and then Uddhava. And then from Uddhava goes to Gopis, and then, that is the prime, topmost pinnacle of devotion. So everybody is actual devotee, but there are different, levels. So in here, Prabhupada is saying that even though they didn't have any material desires, Vasudeva and Devaki, and they were actually influenced by the Yogamaya, not Mahamaya, influenced by the Yogamaya. Here, the word actually is used, Mama Maya. So Jiva Goswami says, Mama Maya amohito, means not influenced by the Mahamaya, but influenced by the Deva Maya. So they were influenced by the Deva Maya, so that they can conceive the son as Krishna. Yes. So there are still the differences are still there. There is difference, and in one or two more verses down, Prabhupada says that actually the devotion of Vasudeva and Devaki are different from the devotion of Nanda and Yashoda. So Nanda and Yashoda, when they actually prayed and they got the benediction from Brahmaji, they were praying in the previous lives, they were Drona and Dhara. And they prayed that we just want to always immerse ourselves in the childhood pastimes of Krishna. May we always be able to remember the childhood pastimes. So they never desired that they want to have a son like Krishna, or they want to, do the service to Krishna as a small child. But they simply desired that we just want to have, always remember the loving pastimes of the baby Krishna like this. But here Vasudeva and Devaki are actually desiring to have the son. So they're saying that Vasudeva and Devaki is still having some kind of a desire to have the son. And Prabhupada basically makes it clear that one should be actually free from any kind of desires. So Prabhupada is talking of higher standard, Nishkinjana Bhakti. And we can actually reflect that even in the Prabhupada's prayers in Jaladuta. Prabhupada is saying that I don't know this place, and people are all engrossed in so much material activities, and I don't know if I will be able to, give them some message, but I have full faith in the holy names, and the blessings of my spiritual master are there. And Prabhupada was also not saying that, okay, make me successful. He didn't desire for that. Oh, I should be able to succeed in this. Prabhupada said, whether it is success or whether it is failure, Lord, please always, give me the power. Give me the power, because I have full faith in your holy names, and give me the power so that, I can fulfill this purport of Bhakti Vedanta, I don't have any knowledge, I don't have anything, but your mercy is everything. So Prabhupada himself showed that how one should be actually nishkinchinasya, that how one should be actually free from all material desires, and that is what he is saying in this verse. But the question is always that a devotee, when a practicing devotee is there, he is not actually free from all the material desires, right? It is a process. We have to go through that process. So I'm just relating now some of the things which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually says in Madhya Lila, 22nd chapter, 34th verse, Madhya 22, and then 34th verse and onwards, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the science of devotional service to Sanatana Goswami. And he's telling that how he actually takes care of his devotees. So here, I'm just speaking from verse 34. He says, this is the, wonderful verse. Sakradeva prapanno yas tavasmi iti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamya etat vratam mama. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for fearlessness, I shall immediately award fearlessness to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. Due to bad association, the living entity desires material happiness, liberation, or merging into the impersonal aspect of the Lord, or he engages in mystic yoga for material power. If such a person actually becomes intelligent, he takes to Krishna consciousness by engaging himself in intense devotional service to Lord Krishna. He says in verse 36, whether one desires everything or nothing. This is the verse akamo sarva kamava moksha kama. He is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. And and the next verse says, if those who desire material enjoyment or merging into the existence of absolute truth engage in Lord's transcendental loving service, they will immediately attain the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, although they did not ask for it. Krishna is therefore very merciful. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, so Lord Chaitanya is telling that Krishna is how Krishna is thinking. Krishna is saying, since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. And Prabhupada actually writes in this purport, although a person may be foolish, Krishna, being all intelligent, engages him in his devotional service in such a way that he gradually forgets material opulence. So this is a beauty. If one goes to Krishna, he will never return empty-handed. Krishna knows how to take care of each and every person. So whether we have desires, bhukti mukti siddhi kami sakala shanta Krishna bhakta nishkamata eva shanta. So the Krishna bhakta is always, peaceful because he is actually under the shelter of the Lord. So whether one is jigyasu, arthi, artharthi, jnani, whatever may be one's desire, if one goes to Krishna, then Krishna will see how to elevate that person. So that his faith never shakes, Like many times somebody says that, what will happen if I get so much difficulties and so many troubles which the pure devotees are getting? But actually Krishna never gives somebody test which one cannot actually pass. That is the beauty. The Lord always gives us the test based on our capacity and tries to increase our capacity slowly, so that we can take more difficult test, more bigger test. So somebody said, right, you don't uh, tell Krishna how big your problem is, but tell your problem how big Krishna is. So the Lord has very beautiful, wonderful ways of elevating the consciousness of his devotees. And in verse number 41, then Lord Chaitanya further says, when Krishna is requested to fulfill one's desire, he undoubtedly does so, but he does not award anything which, after being enjoyed, will cause one to petition him again and again to fulfill further desires. When one has other desires but engages in Lord's service, Krishna forcibly gives one shelter at his lotus feet, where one will forget all other desires. So, see, that is the condition. In the ninth canto, Pururava and Urvashi has been discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, where he enjoys and enjoys with Urvashi, and then Urvashi leaves, and he is so frustrated, and he is requesting, please, please come, and she says, I'll come just once a year, and then the whole year he is in anxiety because he will have enjoyment for one day, and then she will again leave. And then he does austerity. He got the darshan of Krishna also. And then the Lord says, what boon you want? He says, I want Urvashi. Like this. But then in the 11th canto, the Lord narrates this thing to Uddhava about El Gita, about Pururava and his enjoyment. And says that finally actually Pururava actually understood that material sense enjoyment is useless. It is futile. Many verses describing Pururava's realization, and then finally he gives up everything, and actually he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So, but even after that, so when one actually comes somehow or another, take shelter of the Lord takes care of him. So that is the example that Lord himself actually gives. When someone engages in Lord Krishna's devotional service for the satisfaction of senses, and instead acquires a taste for serving Krishna, he gives up his material desires and willingly offers himself as an eternal servant of Krishna. And then the next verse is being quoted by Lord Chaitanya very beautifully about Dhruva Maharaj. That Dhruva Maharaj had material desires, and he approached the Lord. And he wanted a kingdom greater than his grandfather. And then when he approached the Lord, he performed severe austerities based on Narad Muni's instruction, and he got the darshan of Lord. And then, when he saw the Lord, he was completely mesmerized. He was so much attracted to the beauty of the Lord. He was experiencing the pure bliss. And then he didn't want his desires to be fulfilled. But still, Lord said, okay, I will give you whatever you desired. So Lord Chaitanya quotes this, the statement which is Dhruv Maharaj is saying, Kachan vichinvan apidivya ratnam swamin kritartho asmi varam nayache. I don't want any vara. I don't want any benediction. Because I have become blessed. Swamin kritartho asmi. I am fully satisfied. I don't want anything. So that was Dhruv Maharaj said, oh my Lord, because I am seeking opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penances and austerities. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead, I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you. So this is Dhruv Maharaj. And Lord Chaitanya is quoting that um, Krishna actually never leaves his devotee. Krishna always takes care of his devotees. So now, uh, one practical thing, that it is not difficult to give up these material desires. Material desire is actually lust. Lust is, obsession to enjoy this material world, sense objects. As always, yahi samsparshaja bhoga. So as soon as, one comes in contact with the sense objects, one wants to enjoy that, and one becomes bound. So I was, hearing from Braj Bihari Prabhu. He was saying that, one can actually become free from lust. So there are some practical tips he was giving. So he's saying L is loving feelings for Krishna. One should actually get the loving feelings for Krishna. So Prabhupada gives an example that South Indian Brahman, he is reading Bhagavad Gita and he is crying. And Lord Chaitanya comes, Lord Chaitanya say, so Prabhupada is mentioning this at some place, that he say, Lord Chaitanya says, you are crying. He says, no, I am not crying, but I am feeling Krishna. So what are you feeling? That, when Krishna is actually driving the chariot of Arjuna, just by seeing that picture, I am getting tears in my eyes. So that was the love that the South Indian Brahman had. So L is for basically, developing the loving feelings for Krishna. And U is for understanding scriptures. So one has to still understand scriptures. One has to read the scriptures, like we discussed of the, Pururava, Urvashi, and like this, Maharaj Yayati, also wonderful pastimes of how they have conquered, this. So that is understanding scriptures. And the third is S for shelter of devotees. So one must actually take shelter of devotees. Like Kala Krishna Das, he was actually taken by Bhattaharis, and Lord Chaitanya dragged him with his hairs. And then Lord Chaitanya didn't want to engage him in his service, but then all the devotees, come together and made the plan that how, we can engage him in Lord Chaitanya's service, and they sent him to, Mayapur, Navdvip, to send a message to the mother and like that. So somehow, they engage. So important is association of the devotees. So S is for shelter of devotees. If one takes the shelter of the devotees, then one will be actually saved. And the fourth is actually tolerate. Because the urges will be there in this material world. There will be temptations always, but one should actually try to tolerate those urges. Tams titikshasva bharata. Krishna is telling even before starting, main instructions, Krishna is saying that tams titikshasva bharata. That these things will happen, sukh and dukh, and the insults and appreciations, all this will keep coming, but you should actually tolerate all of this. So how to overcome this enjoying propensity? The lust is L for loving feelings of Krishna, U for understanding scriptures. So one has to put their own efforts also, read the scriptures, discuss this, do the mananam, chintanam, and discussions with devotees. S is for taking shelter of the devotees, a shelter of devotees, and T is for tolerating these urges, temptation. Thank you. If there is any comments, anyone wants to correct or add something, please.
It was a beautiful class. Thank you very much. I just can't resist myself taking any opportunity to glorify Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. So thank you for bringing that point up. I remember one devotee mentioned, as you said, he used to always play Mridanga and chant Hare Krishna. That was his service. So much so that as he was laying in the deathbed, the doctor came and he put the stethoscope on his heart, and his lips are not moving, but he could clearly hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra instead of the heartbeat. That was the glory. And speaking about love, the acronym LUST, right? So I remember one time Gauranga Prabhu mentioned the foundation of lust is basically mode of passion, right? All of us we have. So we have to engage that in Krishna service. And he said, anytime, one of the since you spoke about the practical tips, I just remembered, he said, anytime any such lusty thoughts come, just take the mridanga, start banging, chanting Hare Krishna. Let that mode of passion, get out. So, I remember the first ever mridanga beat that I learned was the one that Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj used to play, who taught Radhana Swami also that particular beat. So those points came to my mind. I wanted to share. Thank you.
Jai. Thank you, Puji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. I was hoping you could speak on this balance between austerity, doing too much. We heard about Vasudeva and Devaki in previous lives doing austerity. How do we know if it's too much? And then on the other side, we can also become complacent. How can we see if we're too far in one direction, and how can we make sure to stay in that balanced, like they say we shouldn't be in the stress zone, but we should be in the stretch zone. Can you speak on this point?
I don't have much realization about this, but I can just share some of the thoughts. How much is too much and how less is too less, yeah, of course, when one is doing the austerity, important thing is to actually have what is the goal in the mind, that it is to actually please Krishna. It is to please the Guru Parampara. So that is the most important thing, and not just pleasing ourselves. So many times, we can get distracted into, I am doing it for my own thing, right? Like there are examples that I have heard that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj giving in the classes, that there was one devotee who was actually started chanting, every day, lot of rounds, maybe 64 or even more. And, he stopped doing any services. He didn't get any instructions like that from Srila Prabhupada or anyone. And slowly he actually, he just disappeared. And one time, Maharaj was going through the gas station and he saw that devotee, and this devotee is no more chanting. And he said that, I have chanted enough for my whole life, like that. So sometimes, so if it is under the direction, there has to be accountability also, because one can actually get distracted in this world. Bharat Maharaj had so much love, and Bharat Maharaj left the whole kingdom, and he was at the bhava stage. But then just he got attracted to the deer. So he was doing a lot of austerities, living in the forest and meditating on the deer skin, and he was at such a great stage. But then that accountability was not there. The guru was not there, someone to ask. So then, he got, distracted, diverted from the pure devotional service. So one has to, when one is doing it, so what I can think of is that one has to know the goal, that I am trying to actually please Guru Parampara and Krishna. And secondly, there has to be someone to guide and someone whom we are accountable to, so that they can tell us this is right or not. So when we are also in the shelter of devotees, when we have our seniors or even the friends, and they can immediately tell, Prabhu, you are in Maya, you are doing too much, like you're too much, fasting. It's not good for your health, and maybe you're becoming too proud of doing this fasting. So please, stop this. Better to not have this than, to actually try to please the Lord. So that corrections and all those things will come in the association of devotees. So that's what I could think of, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. It reminds me of similar advice I got. A devotee told me that if we think of pleasing Guru, it's like a GPS for our devotional service. Like Guru positioning, or Guru's pleasure system, we can say.
Yes, Guru's pleasure system, Guru positioning system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, very helpful.
Hare Krishna, Shyam, Lila Prabhu, thank you for giving very nice class. You were mentioning the difference between the meditation of Devaki and Vasudeva was that they wanted Krishna as their child, and for Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they wanted to see the childhood pastimes of Krishna. So, I mean, there's a very slight difference in the sense that one would assume that if you want Krishna as your child, you would get to see their childhood pastimes also. But looks like they didn't get to see that. And one would assume that if you see the childhood pastimes, that Krishna would be your child. But I mean, it's such a fine distinction between what they both desired. So it almost feels like, sometimes we say we don't know what to ask Krishna, so we better ask Krishna, you know what is best for me. Even let my desires be what is pleasing to you, because we really don't know what to ask. Any additional comments you want to give on that point?
Yeah, I mean, these are basically, like we call it friendly disputes. Basically means that they're one and the same. At the same time, there is little difference, but that is at a very high level. So, of course, we are not at that level. But, acharyas bring out these important points that that there can be a little bit tinge of some desire, and the Lord actually wants somebody to be completely free from any kind of desires. So that's why there are different grades and different shades. There is no, one black and white, but there are actually different shades in devotional service, and the devotees having, all exhibiting this, in different, there are different feelings and different desires that they have. You were one more thing which you were you said at the end. Yeah. So when we are actually asking to the Lord, actually it is, I have heard that we should always be very, truthful to the Lord, that actually I am not that pure. So that is actually humility, to just stand in front of the Lord as we are, that we are like this. We cannot ask for something where we are actually not even qualified. So if we are going and asking that, Lord, give me pure devotional service, are we ready actually to take pure devotional service? What kind of difficulties which we are going to face, we don't know that thing. So we generally go and ask the Lord that actually my desire, my final goal is to get pure devotional service, but I am not at that level, and right now I need a job, or I need this, I need to improve my health and this. So this is my condition. It's not the the highest thing, but Lord, this is my situation, so please take care of me. please fulfill this if you so wish, and if you think that this is good for me. Um, that's what we can go and in front of the Lord and stand with humility in front of the Lord, because we are not at that level of highest devotion where we can simply tell the Lord that, just give me pure devotional service like this. Of course, we can always try to recite the prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur or the prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam and try to develop that mood. So that, at one day we can actually get that mood. So definitely we should study the scriptures in that light to actually come to that level of mood. That's what I can think, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I was thinking there is such a beauty of Krishna consciousness. Like in today's class, we saw you mentioned Nishkinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajan Unmukasya. So that gives us the topmost order, topmost standard, expected standard that we need to. At the same time, Kama Sarva Kama, right? So Krishna is so flexible. This philosophy is inclusive. It includes everyone, of any stature, any standard, any level we are at. Right? In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Patram Pushpam, whatever Krishna wants, Manmana Abhava Mad Bhakto. But then immediately is Abhyasya Api Asamartosi. If you can't do this, then one level down. So there is Nishkama, which is the Nishkam Karma Yoga, that is given, which is the topmost, expectation. And then Yat Karoshi Dashnasi. Sakama. Okay, whatever you like gulab jamun, you make gulab jamun and offer it to me. But higher is, what I want. So on one hand, Krishna is giving what is expected. And on the other hand, he knows you are at this level, no problem. You are still accepted. So expected and accepted. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Kala Chanji Bhagwan ki jai.